We are back in business week 8, college football here at Odd Shopper. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the big games. We're going to put some bets on the board. We're going to look at what's going on the leaderboards on tails as well. It's going to be a good time. I'm Ben Rasa. Welcome in. You guys know the drill. Let's get right into it. We're going to break down, like I said, this week 8 slate. We're deep into the conference season. Teams are done. Playoff pictures somewhat solidified for some of these teams. We know who's in, we know who's out. Coaches are getting fired all over the place. Shout out, pour one out for James Franklin. If he's watching, hit the like button. You've got time to do it right now. And we are looking for a bounce back. To me, this was a bad week 7 for me. The Ducks really let me down. The late night was great. Utah was awesome. I needed Oregon really badly last week. Did not get it. And then Arizona losing in double overtime. Didn't help the cause either. But you know what? We've got plenty to get to right now. Let's dive right in to these plays. Here we go. We're going to get things started. Where are we going to get things started? Not with the Friday games, but with LSU and Vanderbilt. Look at the world we live in, man. 1.5 point spread for Vandy at home against a ranked top 10 opponent in the country. That hasn't, I would imagine, not happened in quite some time. But is it warranted? Probably. Honestly, it's a pretty toss-up game in my book. I guess I have a slightly into Vanderbilt. I go back and forth, honestly. But I do like the under, 48.5. So let's get things started here with a little greasy under to get the tone setted. So, set it. That's not a word. To set the tone. Now, let's talk about these teams. Both of them, obviously, you're playing in SEC. You face some competition. LSU, they beat Clemson early in the year. They beat Florida early in the year. They lost to Ole Miss. They bounced back against South Carolina last week. It was a sloppy game, red zone turnovers. It was in Death Valley. They looked fine. Vanderbilt, they had beat up on everybody. Then they lost to Alabama. It was a tough game. Turnovers again. Pavia was not good, let's be honest. Then they get to rest. They had a bye. So maybe they get a chance to reset. I do trust their team. I like a lot of what they do. First things first for them. You can't run on Vanderbilt. Their front is very, very strong. I don't think LSU, who struggled to run the ball anyway, is going to have any success on the ground. So now we funnel into one-dimensional passing attack. That's usually not a recipe for an under, but I don't know how methodical that will even be. I don't think the tempo will be pumped up by any stretch. I just don't think LSU is going to be that effective offensively. Then we go to Vanderbilt. I think they'll be more than content to try to control clock here. They did this a little against Alabama. I like what they're doing. And then you look at LSU's defense. It's really strong in the secondary, but I don't really trust their front. So now it's, can Vanderbilt run on them? I think the answer is more yes than no. Obviously, Pavia, he kind of brings some pressure on himself, but he can weasel out of it as well. He's got dual threat ability. We all know that. To me, this is a pretty ugly game. I think Vanderbilt will try to control time of possession. If they launch a heavy ground attack here, I think that's the theme of the game. I think this is going to go under 24-17 type game, 21-17 type game. Under for me. I want to pick a side. Maybe I'll pick a side as we get closer to Saturday, but I'm going to get things started here with an under. Let's scroll. Duke and Georgia Tech. That's a sick game. Lean to Georgia Tech, but I'm not getting involved in that just yet. We may circle back on some of these. I want to hit the big games. Shout out to Kent State, who beat UMass by like 40 points last week. Disgraceful. Here we go. The Dogs and the Rebels. Big time game here. 6.5 at minus 122. 7.5, it's about the same. 56.5 on both. I'm going to give you 2 plays here. Maybe even 3. We're clicking all these buttons. Let me make sure 255. Yeah, we're clicking all of these. All right, let's talk about what I just did so you don't think that I'm just a crazy person. Ole Miss and Georgia. Maybe the game of the day. We're going to find out a lot about this Ole Miss team who almost screwed up their whole season last week. They were not paying attention clearly against Washington State, probably looking ahead, and they only won by 3 points when they were like 30-point favorite. They did win, whatever. They beat LSU earlier in the year. Good stuff. I don't know. Obviously, they found a quarterback, and he's a legit player. There's no doubt about it. I believe he's from Ferris State and whatnot. But this Ole Miss team, I don't think they've really been tested in the ways that they're going to be tested with Georgia, particularly defensively. And they've gotten into some crazy games. Arkansas, 41-35, and Taylor Green really was effective in that game. The rest of the games have been pretty reasonable outputs for the defense, but I worry a little bit about Ole Miss's defense. They have no pass rush to speak of, and level of competition has not been great. I think Georgia's really going to score. So that's part one of this over. Then you look at Georgia, Gunnar Stockton, he's got some quality in there. He's limited the interceptions. Haven't been blown away by him by any stretch. They haven't had as good of a run game as I had hoped. The defense is coming along, though. You're not going to be able to run on Georgia. They're another team like that. You just simply can't run on them. You're going to have to go over the top. I do think there's opportunities for some big plays for Ole Miss, but I'll say they're few and far between. For me, the Georgia team total is what we're isolating here. They're going to score on Ole Miss. Ole Miss will be forced to play catch up. They will have some success. It won't be enough to win the game. Hopefully, it won't be enough to cover the spread, but hopefully it will be enough to help us in this over, because I'm going to have several plays on this game. I would assume the books will have, parlays and boosts that are associated simply with this game. If you are interested in something like that, this is a pretty good spot to look to. No doubt about it. Ole Miss, Georgia. I'm going to call for a shootout here, and I will call for Georgia to cover the number. You got a 6.5 out there. Again, you want to shop it, do all that good stuff. But for me, this is another game where I think the total is firmly in play, and it's one of the games of the day. I also will look to some money line. As you see, minus 255 makes for a good money line parlay piece. This is exactly what got me into trouble last week, but we're going to be all right. That is what we're going with here in the big game at 3:30. All right. Texas Tech and Arizona State. Keep an eye on this one. This is one that I don't want to give a play on because both quarterbacks we don't know. But last week I picked on Arizona State, and that was by far my best bet of the entire day. That is something that you want to keep in mind if you're looking to potentially short them again. If we get updates that Levitt doesn't play, I think that Texas Tech is going to be in business. I feel pretty good about what they're doing. Really, really cool stuff. I do want to mention very quickly, I'm going to bring up some cool things on Tails. Tails is where you want to be. Tails is all about it. If you want to get inside the ropes with me, but even in general, it is a platform that is changing the way people are betting, and that is true. Thousands of people are coming to Tails every day simply to tail. The opportunities are endless. The free picks feed is phenomenal. I'm going to bring it up right now, actually, and show you guys what I mean, because whether you're ready to get inside the ropes in a Discord or you're just looking for plays, this is a free feed. You can curate your followers so you're only getting what they drop. Look at all this content. Or you can go explore, find different sports, find different people, parlays, whatever you want. If you say, I want to know what's going on, go right to the leaderboards. You're going to see all these different things. Long shot bets. Who's on a heater? Look at this. Very, very cool stuff. We are absolutely thrilled to have these wired up. And this is all absolutely free. You like what you see here, you just press follow, boom, and you're getting their bets right there. Simple as that. Really, really awesome. And again, free content. The link is in the description of this video. Take a couple minutes and come and join us there. Coolest thing about it, thing I'm most excited about, one-click tailing. So if you like a bet, you just press tail right here, and you're joining the sweat with us instantly. So really awesome. I'll see you over there. You can follow me, by the way, of course, at JazzRaz. Right over there. Let's get to another big game, and then we'll circle back on a couple smaller games, and we'll get out of here. No, I'm not betting the Penn State game. But I will, dare I say, get involved with Alabama. They could be the other parlay piece. That is definitely possible. I'm just going to keep betting Alabama, though. It hasn't worked like, we're not talking a straight wagon by any stretch. But honestly, I'm very impressed with what they're doing. And people are noticing. Listen, we haven't found anything that people aren't aware of. The Florida State loss seems crazier by the day when you look at it. So this team lost to Florida State, crushed Louisiana Monroe, crushed Wisconsin, beat Georgia, beat Vandy, beat Missouri. These are brutal tests, two of them on the road. you can debate whether they should have or shouldn't have won the games, but they did win the games. Now, covering has been a little more difficult. Missouri, they did cover against Vanderbilt in the last second. I was on that game. I was very fortunate. None of that's really relevant here. What is relevant is Ty Simpson doing a great job. He's completing over 70% of his passes. He only has one interception on the season. I do trust him back there. I will give Joey Aguilar his flowers as well. He's been great for Tennessee. I didn't really expect that, but I respect it. I should have just said expect and respect, but it's true. He has been a bright spot for this Vols offense, and they've got some weapons on the outside. Alabama's run game is a bit of a concern. I don't really understand what's going on with them because their offensive line should be strong. They should be able to run better than they have. And I honestly don't trust Tennessee's front. They have not been good. They're in the bottom half in run defense right now. I think Alabama is going to have more success on the ground than we have seen for the large majority of this year. We know that Tennessee likes to get into these crazy games, crazy tempo games, crazy shootout games. You look at some of their scores, it's been like that 44-41 against Georgia, 41-34 against Mississippi State. The game was in overtime. Even last week, 34-31 against Arkansas. They're going to want to do that. I think that's okay with Alabama in terms of a position. I trust Alabama's defense. Their coverage is probably the strength. They remind me in some ways of what we just talked about with LSU. They've got to find a couple things up front, but if they do that, I think Alabama is going to continue to get stronger. Dare I say another moneyline parlay piece? This is dangerous games, but I do believe it. And anything inside 10 for me is going to be an Alabama position. I like this spot for them this week. A couple other quick ones here. So I just want to point this out. This was ridiculous. I said this last week. Missouri has not played a road game. 0 road games. That is kind of crazy to me. They do have to go to Auburn, who, man, did Auburn catch a raw deal last week. I thought that was a horribly officiated game. I was rooting for Georgia, so selfishly, I wasn't that upset seeing it, but it was kind of a tough way to watch a game. Some bad calls, I thought, went against them. Significantly screwed up the game. All right, Southern Miss, my team, just going to keep playing them. Simple as that. I just like this team. It's a macro buy. They've been my team all season long. And honestly, for the most part, they have really come through for me. They are the team that they're basically Marshall of last year. I just backed them against Georgia Southern, and it was a ridiculous game. It was a weekday game. 38-35. They blew a huge lead in that game. But this is still a team that has a lot of positives on the season, and I'm just going to continue to buy on them. I know they have to hit the road here, but Braylon Braxton has been awesome. They have a dual threat ability in terms, not even dual threat, that's not the right way. They can beat you in multiple ways on offense. And Louisiana, it's a 2-4 team that honestly I haven't been impressed with. They were handled last week at James Madison. No shame there. But their wins have been McNeese, who's an FCS school, and a 3-point win against Marshall. I know being at home helps, but I don't think it's going to help this much. If you want a greasy one, look to Southern Miss this week. Let's see what we can find as well. And again, I know I already talked about this, but I'll just give another quick shout out. If you guys are looking for my bets, just come and follow me right here and you set up notifications. They will be sent right to your device. So if you don't want to wonder what I'm on, or you just want to know, maybe you don't tail it, maybe you fade it. Well, for all I know, certainly would have helped you last week. You can get this all for free right over at tails.bet, right in the link in the description. We are building up. We want this to be the premier place where everybody goes for every type of bet. Parlay, straight bets, fun bets, crazy bets, profitable bets. Tails has it. Just come and find it. Find what works for you. The algorithms will help you. No doubt about it. One more for the road. We always do 5 on this video. I had a couple written down. I'm kind of deciding in real time where I want to go with this. There's some greasy games like this. There's the bounce back game like that. I have to give Indiana a shout out on the video. I've obviously been wrong about a lot of things over the course of a season. I don't think I've been more wrong about anything than how good Indiana is. I thought they were going to regress a lot this year. They've been nothing short of phenomenal. That coach is unbelievable. So I got to give a shout out to Indiana. And the last play, we'll go back to a former wagon in Texas State. It's inside 3 here. Let's see what we've got over here. No, not Texas A&M, as much as I like them, but Texas State. Yeah, -2.5 at -115. This is the spot that I want. This game is going to be a crazy back and forth. I just told you that Marshall got into a shootout with Louisiana. They've been playing crazy games all year. Texas State, the tempo that they can play with when they want to play fast is ridiculous. They're 3-3 on the year. They just lost 48-41 to Troy, 31-30 to Arkansas State. They just can't seem to get over the hump. Turnovers have played a role in some of these games. They just need to keep it clean because I really do trust them. Now, in their defense, they did keep it clean against Troy. It was just a game where they outgained Troy. They had 600 yards nearly of offense. They just were not able, small edges. When you put up 40 points, you should win. I don't see Marshall being that team. It's a team that I've shorted a lot this year, and I will give a little credit to them. They're 3-3. I did not expect that. They crushed Old Dominion last week. I could not be more shocked that that happened. It was a game that I actually thought Old Dominion would be doing the crushing. Look at the box score. 5 turnovers for Old Dominion to 0 for Marshall. There's not that much to really say. When you turn the ball over 5 times, you're going to get some really odd outcomes. You can't win games with 5 turnovers. Old Dominion proved that last week. Texas State will handle their business here. Anything inside 3 is good for me. All right, let's talk about a quick recap here. We've got Texas State. We've got the under in the LSU game. A couple others over here. Woof. Let me get this off. You don't want to pay 5 extra cents. Georgia potentially on the money line. Over in the Georgia game. Alabama, Southern Miss. A lot of action, and I am just scratching the surface. Again, there are so many games, so many teams. There will be some live bets on Saturday. I can't wait to get it started. Feeling good, and college basketball is almost here. You know I'm excited for that. That is my actual – that and college football are my favorites. We're going to be diving into all sorts of teams there. Don't you worry. But in the meantime, got some bets on the board this week. I want to just thank everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please hit the like button. It only takes 2 seconds, and it helps us out immensely. If you have any questions for me, follow me on Twitter at JazzRazBets. Follow me on Tails. That's just if you want bets and content, dropping DFS as well there. Totally for free. Link in the description. Let's have a bounce back week 8. Good luck, everybody, on your wagers. Thanks for tuning in. Win, lose, or draw, I'll be back for week 9.